Here with me now is a longtime Donald Trump supporter and potential vice presidential pick, South Dakota Republican Governor Kristi Noem. Governor, thank you so much for joining us. I should say you have a new book coming out on May 7th that is called No Going Back. Governor, I want to start with the opening arguments, which are expected to begin tomorrow. The defense and prosecution went back and forth all week, weeding out jurors. Now this case is in the hands of the justice system. Should Donald Trump accept whatever verdict the jury renders in this case?
Well, my hope is that all Americans can trust our judicial system, and that's really what this case will prove out. I think it's a little ridiculous that they've waited years to bring these types of charges against Donald Trump. If they wanted to make these kinds of charges against him, they should have done it years ago when this happened. To do it conveniently during a presidential election when he's campaigning to return to the White House, I think proves that this is all politically motivated. It's the way that Democrats are fighting these days, is using the judicial system and activist judges to do so. My hope is that the people and the jury will do what is right and hear the evidence and see clearly that this is an unprecedented trial, but it's unprecedented in how ridiculous it is.
These allegations happened when he was president. That is, in part, for the prosecutors, why they say that the allegations happened while he was president. He allegedly made the payment while in the Oval Office. But let's focus on the specifics of the case. Prosecutors allege Donald Trump falsified business records to hide hush money payments weeks before the 2016 election. As I mentioned, he violated both state tax and federal campaign finance laws. So are you saying that even if that's true, he shouldn't have been charged and that he's above the law?
What I'm saying is that these prosecutors are using someone whose testimony has been proven to be a liar. Michael Cohen has lied before Congress multiple times. That's their main witness. I would say that he certainly is not someone who can be trusted to do the right thing during this jury trial. They're also using a woman's testimony who signed a letter saying that this affair did not happen, that she has testified in the past that this never occurred. And so now they're going forward with a case built on that and saying that because Donald Trump paid his legal bills, that now he can be prosecuted for something that even the person that alleged it happened is saying did not happen. So that's what is so shocking to me, I guess, Dana, is that when I'm walking around this state and talking to people across the country, they don't even know which trial this is. They're like, I don't remember which one this is about. Is this the one they're coming after him for this or this? What they really care about is that they're trying to figure out how to pay their gas bill. They're trying to figure out how to pay their electricity and put food on the table for their kids. And they want a president back in the White House that puts America first, that decides that Americans should be a priority and not let an invasion like we have happening at the southern border continue to happen, that they really care about the citizens that are here in the United States.
Governor, I just want to push on this question of what actually happened, because Donald Trump himself acknowledged in 2018 that he authorized payments to Stormy Daniels and reimbursed Michael Cohen. We actually have the reimbursement checks to Cohen signed by Donald Trump. So those are the facts. Are you comfortable with this?
Michael Cohen worked for President Trump. President Trump paid his legal fees. He paid his Michael Cohen legal fees and bills, and that's what this trial will bring forward, hopefully, is the truth. What a ridiculous case that this is, and that it's based on the narrative today that is coming from a man who is proven to be a liar. So I'm hoping that this judge makes the right decision. I'm hoping these jurors can come in and be unbiased, and we'll let this case go forward in a swift manner that allows President Trump to get back on the campaign trail. Americans deserve to hear from their candidates, and the Democrats and the activists are using this trial to derail him, to keep him in court instead of out talking to Americans about what their real concerns are. And their real concerns are their everyday lives. They need a leader in the White House who gets up every day and puts them first and doesn't raise their taxes, doesn't overregulate them, take away their freedoms, and give all our money to other countries instead of making sure that we're taking care of America first and keeping us safe and secure.
I just want to say for the record, there's absolutely no evidence that President Biden is involved in this. This is a case that is being brought in the state of New York by the Manhattan DA.
That's what I think is remarkable, is that if you look at President Biden and what he's done and what his son has done, and the fact that they are not being prosecuted for some of their crimes that has
nothing to do
really
with this.
Kind of unprecedented.
That has nothing to do with this. So my question is,
completely different.
Yeah.
We have a judicial system right now that's being used against certain members of certain parties
my
and
other
not
point that
against
I want to
others.
make,
We
Governor,
appear
is
to have a two.
you mentioned that
Go
he was
ahead,
paying
Dan.
his legal fees to Michael Cohen. One of the things that they are going to talk about in this trial is the fact that it wasn't just a retainer. It was actually a payment to Michael Cohen because Michael Cohen put the money out for Stormy Daniels on his own. But kind of big picture, Governor, if Donald Trump is convicted in this trial, will you still support him in November?
If my choice is between Joe Biden and Donald Trump every single day of the week, yes, I will support Donald Trump. I have from the very beginning. He has been someone that I have supported since 2016 because I recognized that he didn't think he was better than anybody else in this country. He wanted to go run for this office so he could serve the people here and fight for them every single day. And you know what? He's one of the few.
Oh, it looks like.
By outside noise and the judicial system and cases and lawsuits that come that are being used to weaponize our judicial system against him. I'm focused on what he did when he was in the White House. And when he was in the White House, every single day as governor, I got to be on offense. I got to solve problems. And since Joe Biden has been in the White House, I just have to defend the freedoms of my people in South Dakota. I'm every day trying to push back on what this federal government is trying to do by increasing costs for the everyday families that get up every day and go to work. So yes, Donald Trump should be back in that White House. I'm going to do all I can to help him win. And Dana, I've run 11 campaigns and I've won them all. I don't know how to lose. So I'm going to do everything I can to make sure I help Donald Trump win again.
Okay, Governor, I want to turn to the issue of abortion. Donald Trump now says that even if Congress were able to pass a federal abortion ban, he wouldn't sign it, and it should be handled by the states. When you were in the House, you co-sponsored legislation multiple times to ban abortion at the federal level. Now you also say that it is a state issue. What changed for you?
Well, the environment changed when Roe v. Wade was overturned. That returned the power back to the states, which is appropriate, and Donald Trump is exactly right. Every state's laws will look different based on what the people in those states want to be their law when it comes to abortion. And we should be focusing on these women that are in crisis, and they're in unprecedented situations, and they need help and support and all the information that they can possibly have. So my state's laws may look different than what's going on in California or Arizona or New York, and I think that's entirely appropriate. I may be pro-life, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm a dictator and that I get to decide that. Donald Trump recognizes the constitutional authority of the states, and I love that. I love that we have somebody running for president who actually follows our Constitution and recognizes on this issue that having that decision made at the state level is the appropriate decision.
After what happened in Arizona when civil rights era law came back and is now the law of the land there, the former President Donald Trump said that state law goes too far. The law in your state is similar. It's an abortion ban, including areas where a woman is raped or in times of incest. So do you believe that the law in your state goes too far, just as he said about Arizona? Are you with him on that, or do you think that he's wrong?
It's interesting because the law in my state was passed decades before I ever became governor. It was a trigger law that said when Roe v. Wade became overturned, that this would be the law that would go into place. So that may be a topic that will continue to be discussed in South Dakota. Our law today allows an exception to save the life of the mother, but the people in South Dakota will decide what their laws look like.
What do you think it should look like?
I can have an opinion, and I can weigh forward, and I can look at the science and what we've learned about babies in the womb, and to believe that we should protect life. But I think that our law today is what South Dakota wants, and they'll continue to have that debate, and I'll continue to follow through in my role, which is to make sure the will of the people is enforced.
Do you think there should be exceptions for rape and incest, for example?
And I think that every state's going to look different. That's what's different, Dana, is that I've constantly looked, and we rely in South Dakota on the fact that I'm pro-life, and we have a law that says that there is an exception for the life of the mother. And I just don't believe a tragedy should perpetuate another tragedy. I believe in taking care of mothers that are in a crisis situation, and that we should be walking alongside them, giving them all the information and the best information they can make before they have to be put in a situation where an abortion is the only option that they have. So I'll continue to do that and love mothers and families through these situations, recognizing that they are often challenging and scary, and many times they're feeling very alone. And in South Dakota, I hope that that's never our story.
Governor, you are a potential VP contender for Donald Trump. Congresswoman Elise Stefanik and Senator J.D. Vance both have said that if they had been Donald Trump's vice president on January 6, 2021, they would not have certified the election. Would you have?
I think you can go back and keep talking about January 6th, but the fact of the matter is that that was a day we hope we never see again here in this country. We did not, do justice by our country by showing and fighting over that day. We should focus on our freedoms and continue to uphold our Constitution. So, talking in hypotheticals is not something that I do. I do with the reality of what I'm dealing with today and every single day, and what I'm going to do from now on until we get to November is continue to go across this country and talk to people about Donald Trump. Talk to him about how he's the right man in the White House that will turn this country around and make sure their freedoms are defended.